history and you like me or like anything that I do or like anything that I've ever done or will do in the future, perhaps, go subscribe to Revisiting History. So, dire wolves have been de-extinct. Or have they? Well, a company called Colossal Biosciences is claiming that they've de-extincted the dire wolf. And I've been kind of watching some of the discourse come out about what a dire wolf would be in itself and whether the genetic traits or the phenotype or the genotype are more important in actually declaring what that dire wolf actually is. Now, Colossal Biosciences is also saying this is a huge step towards conservation, which I agree. I mean, learning how to use CRISPR in a safe, controlled way where you can use gene therapy and gene replacement is going to be huge for the scientific community if it works. Now, my thing is if you start to create these hybrids that get out and start to spread bad genetic traits amongst regular animals that are just walking around in the wild that wouldn't have been exposed to those traits, and then it gets into the gene pool permanently. So of course they said that they tried to use genes that wouldn't cause things like blindness, for instance. Well, again, who knows what kind of genetic trait they may have introduced, and these are one of the things they had to study is, are these things going to cause problems? And one of the big things they always talk about is inspiring and creating scientific value. And I think they're doing both. I mean, we wouldn't be talking about this. And one of the things is that, like, they want to get ahead of extinction. This is one of the big things that they talk about. They don't want to have extinction as a thing anymore. They want extinction to be a thing of the past. However, are we really taking extinction and getting rid of it, or are we replacing extinction with something that's similar, like Hank Green came out and stated, who I'm not a big fan of at all. I don't like Hank Green. I think me and him don't agree on basically anything except for maybe that. And I think at the end of the day, this isn't really a dire wolf. It may be a phenotypically appear to be a dire wolf, but you know, it's not. And one of the things is they're looking for mammoths by 2028. They've worked with Forrest Galante, who's a huge, he's huge on YouTube now. He's also really into conservation. They're looking at the dodo, the Tasmanian tiger, and Hank Green was saying that these are not dire wolves and that this is marketing. And again, going back to the inspiration, the marketing, the getting people to create interest, and also in the meantime creating value from the science that we're getting here. Now, he thinks it's great. Hank Green thinks it's great in concept, but basically kind of points to it's going to be this weird zoo type thing that's not really anything but man-made creatures. And they have even talked about rewilding some of these. And I mean, obviously not dire wolves, because those would be, we'd be great meals for them. However, rewilding some creatures that may be beneficial. I know Forrest Galante's talked about if the mammoth could be back, it could maybe, you know, re-tundra the tundra and make the unfreezing their, the thawing their stop. So this has got people talking, and I think that's the one thing that's the biggest thing that's important to conservation here, is that it has people talking. You've got Colossal Biosciences with this huge project, these big moonshot projects about the mammoth by 2028, and then you have people like Hank Green, known for his science videos. He's like the 2020 Bill Nye. And, you know, coming out against Colossal Biosciences and kind of like taking a more like non-exploratory stance in a way, which you don't really see from Hank Green really usually. So it's kind of strange, but again, this comes back to the technology, and even Hank Green recognizes that there are benefits to this. He's saying that these are not dire wolves. This is a marketing plot. This is all just them trying to puff up their organization, which is fine though, because it's creating the conversations, which I think is a great thing about conservation. Man, those two words back to back. But the thing is that they took 14 genes and then inserted them into a gray wolf um, gene, which 14 genes changing a gray wolf, you're just tinkering with the gray wolf is what it boils down to, from my understanding. Except for phenotypically, of course, phenotypically it's going to show differently. However, 14 genes in a gray hound with a gray wolf with a hound surrogate is not a significant change to the genotype of a creature. Not just that, but we know way more about human genotypes than we do creature genotypes. So as we continue to do this, I guess, or as companies continue to do this, we'll learn more about genetics and what traits they have, and the difference, the major differences in what each one does, or what if you flip on one trait, what another one will maybe possibly flip off. Now, are they dire wolves? No, they're not dire wolves. We're never going to have dire wolves back. We're never going to have woolly mammoths back. We're never going to have anything of that exact creature back. We may have something that's close to it, but you always have to put that asterisk that it's man-made. It's not what it originally was. Now, you could say, well, over time, humans have adapted dogs from wolves. Similar thing, chickens from birds, and cows, horses. We've done things like this in the past, but not using science, not actually messing with genetics and the birthing process. So this is one of the things. And then my major concern with all of this. So, well, number one, they're not dire wolves. They're something different. They're gray wolves with a little bit of twisted DNA. And then my biggest concern is the old Fallout thing, right? If you've played Fallout, you know that they have these creatures that exist, and they escape from one of their secret scientific locations. And I'm not even talking about the direwolves. I'm talking about any of these species that could cross breed with the current animals out there. You could create some serious problems within the habitats, within the actual creatures themselves. I see a slippery slope here when we start using CRISPR on animals or humans. I think you're playing with fire that might burn you. Thanks for revisiting history. I'll see you next time.